Every time someone visits a website, an invisible exchange of information begins long before they click a single button or fill out a form. Their browser communicates with servers, tracking technologies initialize in the background. Cookies attempt to store identifiers, and analytics platforms prepare to collect valuable behavioral data. For years, this process happened with very little attention from the average internet user. Today, that reality has completely changed. Privacy has become one of the most important topics in modern technology, influencing how websites are designed, how businesses collect information, and how governments regulate digital services across the world. In 2026, protecting user privacy is no longer just a legal obligation, it has become a critical part of building trust between businesses and their customers. Organizations that ignore modern privacy standards risk more than financial penalties. They risk damaging the confidence that keeps customers returning. This is why developers, marketers, cybersecurity professionals, and business owners are all paying close attention to the rapidly evolving privacy landscape. Today's websites must balance two very different objectives. On one side, businesses need accurate information to improve products, measure marketing performance, and understand customer behavior. On the other side, users expect transparency, control, and respect for their personal information. Finding the balance between these two priorities has become one of the biggest technical challenges facing modern websites. In this video, we'll explore how leading organizations are solving that challenge. We'll examine global privacy control, advanced consent management systems, and the future of privacy-friendly analytics. By the end of this guide, you'll understand how professional websites remain compliant without sacrificing performance or business intelligence. Before discussing technology, we first need to understand why privacy regulations continue becoming stricter every year. The Internet has evolved into one of the largest data ecosystems ever created. Every search, purchase, video, and interaction generates valuable information. Businesses use this information to improve customer experiences and optimize advertising campaigns. Unfortunately, not every organization has handled that responsibility responsibly. Years of excessive tracking, hidden data collection, and unclear privacy policies created growing concerns among consumers. Governments responded by introducing stronger privacy regulations that give individuals greater control over how their information is collected and processed. These regulations fundamentally changed how websites operate. Instead of collecting everything by default, organizations must now justify why data is needed and obtain permission whenever required. This shift has transformed privacy from a legal document into an engineering challenge. Developers must now design websites that respect user choices automatically. One of the biggest innovations supporting this goal is global privacy control, commonly known as GPC. Rather than asking users to manually reject tracking on every website they visit, GPC allows browsers to communicate those preferences automatically. Think of it as a universal privacy signal transmitted directly from the user's browser. When enabled, compatible browsers send a standardized request indicating that the user prefers not to have their personal information shared or sold. This creates a far more consistent privacy experience across the web. Instead of repeating the same decisions hundreds of times, users express their preference once through the browser. Every participating website can then recognize and honor that preference immediately. Although the concept sounds simple, implementing it correctly requires careful back-end development. A website must first detect whether the incoming browser request contains a valid global privacy control signal. Modern web servers inspect request headers during the earliest stages of communication. If the GPC signal is present, the server immediately knows the visitor has expressed a universal privacy preference. That information should influence every subsequent decision involving personal data. Advertising scripts may need to remain disabled. Certain tracking technologies should never initialize. Data sharing mechanisms must respect the user's stated preference. This entire process happens before many visible elements even finish loading. Timing is absolutely critical. If tracking scripts activate before privacy preferences are evaluated, compliance may already have been compromised. That's why experienced developers prioritize privacy checks during the earliest phases of page initialization. Every request follows a carefully designed decision-making process. First, detect the visitor. Then, evaluate privacy preferences. Finally, determine which technologies are permitted to load. This structured workflow minimizes compliance risks while maintaining consistent user experiences. Beyond browser signals, websites must also provide clear mechanisms allowing visitors to manage their privacy preferences directly. This is where consent management platforms become essential. Instead of displaying a simple cookie notification, modern consent systems function as sophisticated compliance platforms. They categorize tracking technologies, monitor user permissions, and automatically control which scripts may execute. Their role extends far beyond simply asking visitors to click an accept button. Enterprise organizations often manage hundreds of individual cookies across analytics platforms, advertising services, payment gateways, customer support tools, and embedded media. Without centralized management, maintaining compliance quickly becomes impossible. Every script must be evaluated according to its purpose. Some cookies are technically necessary for website functionality. Others exist purely for analytics. Additional cookies may support personalization. Marketing technologies often create another entirely separate category. Each category requires different consent requirements depending on applicable regulations. Proper classification becomes one of the most important responsibilities within the implementation process. This is why enterprise compliance platforms automatically scan websites to identify every active cookie and tracking technology. Administrators receive detailed reports showing exactly which scripts are operating across every page. Unknown cookies immediately become visible instead of remaining hidden inside third-party integrations. Once discovered, every cookie receives an appropriate classification. Necessary cookies remain active because they support core website functionality. Analytics cookies may remain blocked until visitors provide permission. Advertising technologies often require explicit consent before any tracking begins. Personalization features follow their own configurable privacy rules. This categorization ensures every technology behaves according to the visitor's choices, rather than the website owner's assumptions. Behind the scenes, consent management platforms continuously monitor every script attempting to execute. If permission has not been granted, the platform automatically prevents restricted technologies from loading. Instead of deleting cookies after they're created, modern systems stop them from being created in the first place. This proactive approach significantly improves compliance while reducing unnecessary privacy risks. Visitors experience greater transparency because they understand exactly what information may be collected. Businesses benefit by demonstrating respect for customer preferences. Trust increases when users believe their decisions genuinely matter. Professional websites therefore invest heavily in user-friendly consent interfaces. Clear language replaces confusing legal terminology. Visitors can easily modify preferences whenever they choose. Consent records are securely stored for future auditing purposes. Every decision becomes fully documented. This documentation may prove essential during regulatory reviews or internal compliance assessments. Modern privacy compliance is therefore as much about record-keeping as it is about technology. Every permission granted or denied becomes part of an organization's compliance evidence. Accurate documentation reduces legal uncertainty while strengthening operational accountability. But privacy implementation doesn't end once consent banners begin functioning correctly. Businesses still need meaningful analytics to improve products and marketing strategies. The question becomes increasingly difficult. How can organizations understand customer behavior without violating privacy expectations? Traditional tracking methods are becoming less reliable every year. Browser restrictions continue expanding. Third-party cookies are disappearing. Privacy regulations continue evolving. Businesses therefore require entirely new measurement strategies. Fortunately, privacy-first analytics is rapidly transforming how organizations collect meaningful insights. And that's exactly where cookieless tracking, first-party data collection, and privacy-preserving analytics begin shaping the future of digital measurement. Next, Part 2, lines 101 to 200. One of the most important concepts driving this change is cookieless tracking. a modern approach that reduces reliance on persistent browser identifiers while still allowing businesses to understand overall website performance. Unlike traditional tracking systems that attempted to follow individual users across multiple websites, cookieless analytics focuses on measuring anonymous events, page interactions, and conversion trends without storing unnecessary personal identifiers. This significantly reduces privacy risks while still providing valuable information. That helps organizations improve user experience and optimize business decisions. Developers implementing cookieless analytics often rely on first-party data collected directly through their own websites. Instead of depending on third-party advertising networks, first-party data has become one of the most valuable digital assets because it is collected transparently with clear user expectations and remains under the organization's direct control. Businesses that build strong first-party data strategies are better prepared for future privacy regulations because they rely less on external tracking ecosystems. Another major advantage of first-party data is accuracy, since the information comes directly from customers interacting with the business rather than from multiple unrelated advertising platforms. Modern analytics platforms now emphasize event-based tracking, where specific actions such as button clicks, video views, downloads, purchases, or form submissions become the primary source of performance measurement. Instead of building detailed behavioral profiles of individual users, businesses analyze overall interaction patterns that reveal how effectively their websites serve visitors. Event-driven analytics provides actionable insights while minimizing unnecessary collection of sensitive personal information. This privacy-first philosophy is changing the way marketing teams evaluate campaign success across every major digital channel. Rather than asking, "Who exactly was this person?" organizations increasingly ask, "What actions are visitors taking, and how can we improve their experience?" That shift represents one of the biggest mindset changes in digital marketing over the past decade. Privacy and performance are no longer opposing goals because modern technology allows both to exist together through responsible implementation. Server-side tracking has become another essential component of this evolving ecosystem. Instead of allowing every browser to communicate directly with multiple third-party services, websites increasingly route important measurement events through their own secure servers first. This architecture gives organizations greater control over what information is collected, processed, and ultimately shared with analytics providers. It also improves reliability because browser extensions, ad blockers, and privacy restrictions have less opportunity to interrupt server-side communication. Businesses gain more consistent reporting while maintaining stronger oversight of sensitive customer information. However, greater technical capability also creates greater responsibility because organizations must carefully configure which data is necessary and which data should never be transmitted. Data minimization has therefore become one of the guiding principles of modern privacy engineering. Instead of collecting everything simply because technology makes it possible, organizations deliberately collect only the information required to achieve legitimate business objectives. This approach reduces compliance risks while strengthening customer confidence in the organization's commitment to responsible data handling. Enterprise privacy teams often perform regular audits to ensure every tracking script, analytics platform, and third-party integration continues following approved privacy policies. During these audits, developers verify that unnecessary cookies have not been introduced through software updates or newly installed plugins. Security teams simultaneously evaluate whether external services continue meeting organizational privacy standards. Compliance is therefore not a one-time project, but an ongoing operational process requiring continuous monitoring and improvement. Every website update, marketing campaign, or software integration has the potential to introduce new privacy considerations. That's why successful organizations integrate privacy reviews directly into their development lifecycle instead of treating compliance as an afterthought. Before any new feature reaches production, privacy specialists evaluate how user information will be collected, processed, stored, and protected. This proactive methodology is commonly known as privacy by design. Rather than fixing privacy problems after deployment, Privacy by design ensures that user protection becomes part of the development process from the very beginning. Every technical decision is evaluated through both engineering and compliance perspectives. This collaboration between developers, legal teams, cybersecurity professionals, and marketing departments creates stronger, more resilient digital products. Communication between these teams has become increasingly important because privacy decisions often affect multiple areas of the business simultaneously. A seemingly simple analytics implementation may involve technical configuration, legal review, cybersecurity validation, and marketing approval before deployment. Enterprise organizations therefore establish detailed governance frameworks defining who approves each category of data collection. Clear responsibilities reduce confusion while ensuring accountability throughout the organization. Documentation also plays a central role within every successful privacy program. Technical diagrams explain how information moves through different systems. Data inventories identify exactly what information is collected and why it exists. Consent records demonstrate when and how users granted permission. Retention policies specify how long information remains stored before secure deletion. Together, these documents create a comprehensive compliance framework capable of supporting both internal audits and external regulatory inspections. Automation has also become an essential part of privacy management because manually reviewing every script and configuration across large enterprise websites is simply not practical. Modern compliance platforms automatically scan websites, detect configuration changes, identify newly introduced cookies, and alert administrators whenever unexpected tracking technologies appear. Continuous monitoring dramatically reduces the likelihood that privacy violations remain undetected for extended periods. Artificial intelligence is beginning to enhance these compliance platforms by automatically identifying potential privacy risks before they become significant operational problems. AI-powered systems can analyze website behavior, compare configurations against regulatory requirements, and recommend corrective actions based on emerging best practices. While AI improves efficiency, final compliance decisions still require experienced professionals capable of interpreting legal requirements within specific business contexts. Technology supports compliance, but accountability ultimately remains with the organization operating the website. As privacy regulations continue evolving internationally, organizations increasingly design systems capable of adapting quickly to changing legal requirements across multiple jurisdictions. Flexible architectures reduce the cost of future compliance because configuration changes can often be implemented without rebuilding entire websites. This adaptability has become a major competitive advantage for global businesses operating across different countries and regulatory environments. Organizations investing in privacy today are effectively preparing themselves for tomorrow's digital economy. Customers are becoming more privacy conscious every year, and businesses that demonstrate transparency often earn stronger long-term loyalty. Trust has become a measurable business asset rather than simply a marketing slogan. Users are far more willing to engage with organizations that clearly explain how information is collected, why it is needed, and how it will be protected. Privacy, therefore, supports not only regulatory compliance but also customer retention and brand reputation. Companies that consistently respect user preferences differentiate themselves in increasingly competitive digital markets. Responsible privacy practices also reduce operational risk by minimizing exposure to regulatory investigations, financial penalties, and reputational damage. Prevention almost always proves less expensive than responding to major compliance failures after they occur. For developers, marketers, and business leaders alike, understanding privacy technology has become a valuable professional skill. The future internet will reward organizations capable of balancing innovation with responsible data governance. Every technical implementation should therefore begin with one simple question: does this feature genuinely benefit both the business and the user? When that balance is achieved, privacy and innovation strengthen one another rather than competing for priority. The websites leading the digital economy in 2026 are not necessarily those collecting the most information. They are the ones collecting the right information in the most responsible way. Global privacy control, advanced consent management, And privacy-first analytics represent the foundation of this new digital standard. Together, they create an ecosystem where users maintain meaningful control without preventing businesses from making informed strategic decisions. This balanced approach supports sustainable digital growth while respecting individual privacy rights. As technology continues evolving, organizations must remain committed to continuous learning and ongoing compliance improvements. Privacy is no longer a checkbox completed during website launch. It is an operational discipline requiring constant attention, regular reviews, and responsible technical implementation. Every software update should be evaluated through a privacy lens. Every new marketing tool should undergo compliance assessment before deployment. Every analytics implementation should prioritize transparency and proportionality. Every user interaction should reinforce trust rather than undermine it. Businesses that adopt this mindset position themselves for long-term success in an increasingly regulated digital environment. Customers reward transparency. Regulators expect accountability. Technology continues providing better tools for achieving both objectives simultaneously. Organizations willing to invest in privacy infrastructure today will be significantly better prepared for tomorrow's evolving compliance landscape. The future belongs to businesses that recognize privacy as a strategic advantage instead of a regulatory burden. Strong privacy practices create stronger customer relationships. Strong customer relationships support sustainable business growth. Sustainable growth strengthens long-term competitiveness. And long-term competitiveness depends on trust above everything else. In 2026, trust is no longer built only through products or services. It is built through transparency, security, and responsible data stewardship. Every privacy-conscious technical decision contributes to that foundation. Every compliant implementation strengthens organizational resilience. Every respected user preference reinforces customer confidence. Privacy is no longer separate from technology. It has become one of its defining principles. Organizations that understand this shift will lead the next generation of digital innovation. Those that ignore it will find compliance becoming increasingly difficult and customer trust increasingly fragile. The future of the Internet belongs to businesses that treat privacy as a core feature rather than an optional enhancement. And that's exactly why mastering global privacy control, advanced consent management, and privacy-first analytics has become one of the most valuable technical skills of the modern digital era.